It's the 8th of June 2026. You're welcome to this morning's edition of AM120. I am Oluwafumbi Bello.
Good morning. I am Florence Cheryl.
All right, we take you through the dailies first before every other activities on the program this morning. And this morning, I have the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page, we have some rescue operations in the north. It says, and that story is on pages 2 and 25. It says, troops rescue victims in Borno, Plateau, Kaduna State. The rider says, bandits suffer casualties. Zulum Ndume commend military over rescue of over 350 in Ngoshe. NAF deploys surveillance aircraft to aid rescue of abducted pupils, teachers in Oyo. Security forces foil terror attack in Kogi, Sokoto. And of course, we have the picture of the over 350 in Ngoshe on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. That's after they've been rescued. Moving on to story on page 3, how we identified abductors, located hideout, rescued Adelabu's relatives, and that's according to the police. Said kidnappers monitored family for weeks before abduction. And of course, we also have a picture of the room where the victims were kept, the ceiling where one of the suspects was smoked out, and the building, the picture of the building where they were kept. And of course, we heard about the rescue operation, the release of the victims yesterday. And on page 22, we have Constitution Review. State police getting immediate attention, and that's coming from the Senate. Sets July date to pass all amendments. African CDC, WHO launch $518 million continental plan to contain Ebola outbreak. And that story is on page 25. On page 4, late hour exam. WAEC drops 24-hour delivery policy as 3 officials die in auto crash. That's an unfortunate incident, and we hope their soul rest in peace. And on health, that story on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, adult weight increases cancer risk by almost 5 times. And that's according to a study. And that story is on page 25. Moving on to some inside stories on page 2. Abductions. Troops rescue victims in Borno, Plateau, Kaduna. Federal government won't surrender to terrorists. Bandits, Tinubu assures Nigerians. Security forces foil terror attack in Kogi. Bandits suffer casualties. How we identified abductors, located hideout, rescued Adelabu's relatives. And that's according to the police. Oyo Muslims seek divine intervention for abducted pupils, teachers. And that's all on page 3. Moving on to more stories on business and economy on page 6. Nigeria's Airs and Energies, $750 million financing named Best Oil and Gas Deal of the Year. FCCPC denies role in reported presidential directive on airtime credit market restructuring. Petrol deliveries into Nigeria averaged 57,000 barrels per day in May, and that's according to a report. Moving on to page 16. World Environment Day. NUPRC, NMDPRA, Chevron restates commitment to sustainable environment. Power Minister, Chinese Ambassador hold talks to expand bilateral cooperation in power. Others. Tegbe Lord's power agencies on sector's achievements. And that's all we have on that page. Moving on to page 24. PDP alleges arrest, intimidation of members, seeks Tinubu's intervention. Oyebanji's continuity will consolidate his developmental achievement, and that's coming from Uzodinma. Government intensifies PVC collection campaign. Oyo abduction. NAF deploys surveillance aircraft to aid rescue. And on page 25, federal government approves 5 evacuation flights for Nigerians in South Africa. Africa CDC, WHO launched $518 million plan to contain Ebola outbreak. Gombe-Biu Highway, vital economic security corridor now revived for Northeast. and that's coming from Buratai. And on page 26, Oyo NUJ urges WAEC to end late night exams. And of course, we just on the front page, where the agency says, late hour exam, WAEC drops 24-hour delivery policy as 3 officials die in auto crash. And I guess that's a response to that particular plea. NANS raises independent committee to verify monitor TED fund projects nationwide. Think Yoruba first, advocates unity, economic cooperation. And that's all on page 26 and on page 28. NDDC Director backs PhD in disaster risk management, 60 years remembrance. Aguiyi Ronsi family hails Fadri's sacrifice. And on the sports page, on the back page where we have some of the sports stories on page 31, why I snubbed Chelsea, Newcastle, says Johanna. 3 years he can rule African football again, and that's coming from Obidei. WAFCON, there is still a lot to work. I beg your pardon. There is still a lot of work to do, and that's coming from Madugu. We have budget to support retired athletes. That's from Deco. And on the back page, we have friendly. We need Nigeria game badly, and that's coming from Portugal coach. And lastly, Denmark friendly. Ericsson collapses on pitch again. And that's all we have on the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
I have with me, thank you very much. I have with me the Vanguard newspaper and trending on the major story. Why cooking gas will remain scarce, expensive, as domestic demand outstrips supply. Producers stick to export markets. Outlook remains uncertain, says industry expert. Still on the front page, court declares National Assembly's 110 billion naira SUV allowance spending unlawful. Xenophobia, 270 Nigerians arrived from South Africa today as federal government okays 5 evacuation flights. That's all we have on the front page this morning. We'll now take some stories inside of the Vanguard. On page 4, we have court declares National Assembly's 110 billion SUV allowance spending unlawful. Labour drags federal government before ILO over workers' rights abuses. Details, violence, state interference. Still on page 4, PDP crisis, Wabara, Babangida, Aliyu, Jerry, Ghana, others sue INEC and seeks recognition. Ethnic profiling, article pushes back as Baba Chair says ex-SGF tribal boycott. On page 5, we have 2027, why we want Tinubu's job, Atiku, Obi, Oluwawepo, Ashim, and others. On the People's Talk, Oyo pupils, teachers kidnap and terrorists bold move to southwest. Moving on from that, we have on page 5, terrorists kill 3 FRSC officers in Kebbi State. Soldiers, police clash with Delta youth, house burnt, and we have a picture here indicating that. NDLEA nabs 75-year-old man, intercepts illicit drugs in multi-state crackdown. How we rescued Adelabu's sister and children. This is a report from the police. My daughter was taken day after I prayed for others, Adelabu mother's comment. Bishop's mother, indigent, seeks transfer of case to anti-kidnapping units. Moving on from page 6, we have more stories on the Vanguard this morning. On page 8, Oyo school abduction, NAF deploys surveillance aircraft, Southwest CAN to federal government, declares state of emergency on insecurity. Tension in Osun APC as Omishore's loyalist dumps party. Moving on to page 9, Nigerian carriers face harshest operation conditions. Still on page 9, Customs strengthening global partnership for border security trade. Reps minority crisis, Agbese rejects claim, says no valid nomination exists. On page 10, we have 2027, opposition cannot be silenced, says Wabara, and visits recuperating Bode George in London. JAMB opens portals for 2026 mop-up UTME slips, declares June 13 final exam day, chance for affected candidates. Still on page 10, we have terror scare. UNN dismisses attack rumor, tightens campus security. Abia 2027 will build infrastructure with human face. And NOSIK PDP Guba candidate says. Moving on from that, we have on page 12, Nigeria future lies in tech, military strength, Jonathan says. Data depletion, MTN dismisses manipulation accusations. Credible poll, lawyers must rise above the fat fees, fight for justice. We'll go on a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue from there.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point o.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land at Sure Banker. Progress na small wind where the carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mo go Bible.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point, made for your progress.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria.
Coleman!
Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on malaria gone.
Welcome back. Continuing from there on page 19 on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. 12 years after Chibok, are Nigerian children safer? On insecurity, we won't surrender to terrorists, says Tinubu. Akpabio urges unity against insecurity. We'll now move on to the sports segment of the Vanguard this morning. 2026 World Cup chased these NFF officials away, says Odegbami. Blow for Super Eagles as defenders set to miss Portugal's clash. It will be poised to break Nigeria's record. And on the back page this morning, we have the friendly Super Falcons opt for intensity against Senegal. That's all we have on the Vanguard this morning. We'll now bring you the weather report, after which we'll come back with our guests. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you very much for staying with us. Yes, it's still AM120. We've been talking about security for quite a while, and this morning we will continue on that conversation, talking about updates on Elewura, Orire, and Borno hostages. Yesterday, there was a development based on the abduction of the sister of the former Minister of Power, and of course, our twin sons. The family of a former Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, has thanked security agencies for the rescue of Mrs. Olaide Adegoke, John Paul, and her 12-year-old twin sons from the hands of their abductors. The families also expressed gratitude to the public and, of course, for the release of their family members. Also, the Nigerian Air Force has deployed an aerial surveillance aircraft to support efforts to rescue teachers and pupils abducted from Yawata and Ahore Sienle communities in Orire local government area of Oyo State. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde disclosed this during a courtesy visit over the weekend by the Air Officer Commanding Logistics Command, Air Vice Marshal Abubakar Sule, who represented the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke. According to a statement issued on Sunday by the Director of Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Ehimen Edojame, the governor said the Air Force responded swiftly after the abduction was reported by deploying a surveillance platform that has continued to provide intelligence to security agencies involved in the search and rescue operation. To do justice first to this conversation this morning, we have a retired intelligence officer and a legal practitioner, Mr. Fatai Akinsomi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning.
Looking at the updates from Elewura first, before moving on to NAF, Orire abduction, and NAF deploying surveillance aircraft, let's look at the swiftness of the release of the abducted victims, talking of the former Minister of Power's sister and the twin sons. You know, a lot of Nigerians are saying, how was it possible for them to have been able to rescue those victims within that short period? And we have people, hostages in Orire at the moment, or from Orire abduction, still in captivity, and nothing so far. We are still hoping on their release.
Yeah, well, the two incidents, they are two different incidents, and the approach of the captors are different. The Orire incident is pure terrorism, which is intended to undermine the government of the day. While the issues of Elewura, it is pure criminal. Those who just want to use kidnapping to make money. So the two incidents, they are not the same. They may look to be similar because at least some people's rights have been denied and they are in captivities. So, but they are not the same issue. They are different issues entirely. So the one of Elewura happened within the Ibadan metropolis, and the seat of the is very easy. It's absolutely easy because it's in the town again. So once they are able to get their location through technical means, then it is very easy to. And again, their movement when they are going, there's likelihood of some people who are very conscious of the security situations to be aware. Because they were still within the town. They are still within the town.
And talking of security situations, when the police force, released that statement yesterday, they said the successful rescue of the victims, the killing of 2 armed kidnappers, and the arrest of 4 key suspects marked one of the most significant breakthroughs in recent efforts to dismantle organized kidnapping networks operating within Oyo State and its environs. Now, are we saying Oyo State, is there currently a major issue? Should we start getting concerned, worried about security of Oyo State? Talking of the statement now, and of course, the kidnapping syndicate that has been discovered in Oyo State.
See, the dismantling of that, the Elewura issue is very, very important. Because immediately after that incident, it creates serious psychological trauma for the populace. There is panic. And everybody started going home. Go. If you are outside by 9, you see the loved one be calling you. Where are you? Are you still outside? So it has, but now that we have the security operatives have wonderfully arrested the perpetrators of the act, at least a very serious psychological relief to the populace.
But when we see issues like this, they've been termed as isolated cases. But let's not forget that some month ago, we heard of an abduction happened at General Gas at Kobo there. We also heard of a political chieftain kidnapped at some point. We saw, was it Crane? Where 2 of their members of staff were kidnapped just a few days after the Haure abduction incident happened. Now, when we have security issues like these, or isolated, or can we even call them isolated cases?
Yeah, we cannot say they are isolated in that form, but they are it's just incidents.
But when we have issues, security incidents like these, abductions happening scarcely here and there, does it not call for a major security concern? Are we really looking towards that angle in your state currently?
There is no doubt, not only in your state, in Nigeria, the security architectures of Nigerians should be re-examined so that so it should be re-examined and redefined to be able to meet the current challenges.
So speaking about the aircraft that has been deployed in the area, how well can this aircraft cover the situation properly? And if it's already been covered, what is the delay again?
Yeah, well, the aircraft surveillance is very important when you are talking about the...
Well, it's a very dense area, forest, and how can they see properly?
They will see now. It's not by just ordinary eye. They are well equipped with the surveillance equipment that will be able to penetrate and give a report of what is on ground. And that one will guide the security operatives' decision on how to rescue the children.
All right. So it took the terrorists and bandits quite a while to make their demands. Do you feel like there was a strategic, maybe like that was actually the plan? Them reaching out late, like delaying and playing on our emotions, just so that they can make this their outrageous demands?
No, you see, the issue of the NAFs and surveillance and play is just to complement other efforts that have been on ground or that must have been employed by various security units. It's just to complement so that we're able to achieve the desired result.
Okay. I want us to talk about the demands that was made by these people. They wanted 1 billion naira they wanted, they made a lot of demands. And I'm wondering, like, this their demands, is the government actually going to, like, give into it? Because right now, like, there's a lot of tension on the government to, follow through with everything and get these children back. So as an intelligence officer, do you feel like it's something that, there might be a probability that would go through with it or something?
Well, you see, those who are on ground, who has various intelligence reports, will determine. But the most important thing is that the lives of those children, they are very paramount. I read where some people, one of our senior colleagues said that they should have used, chemical to get those who are in the forest so that they'll be able to slip off. But the chemical that the elderly one can endure, those children, if they inhale it, they may not wake up from their sleep. So they have to do a lot. They will be doing serious comparative analysis to make sure that the life of the children are not put in jeopardy.
There are some certain parts of the nation that have been termed safe at some point. And of course, when we talk about Southwest, we talk about Southwest being safe and of course free from issues like this. But in recent times, we've seen a lot of these issues. I think sometimes last month, some communities in Ondo State came out to protest of not being safe. a lot of abductions have been carried out in that particular area. Let's also look at some communities in North Central, Kwara State, for instance. A particular community, you get there and you barely even see anyone anymore, because it's either a lot of them have been abducted, and the few left, they fled that particular community for safety. Now, when states like these that have been termed safe are no longer safe, now, what do Nigerians do? Where do Nigerians go? How do we begin to tackle this issue? And then are we also going to say, those state governments were not proactive enough in terms of securing the borders of those states against infiltration of these terrorists?
Yes, I seem to agree with the latter part of your speech. You see, initially, especially of your states, we share border with some other foreign countries like Republic of Benin. Yeah. And the sharing of border that we are talking about is forest. Anywhere we have a community very close to the forest, I think it is high times we prioritize the security network within that area, because the terrorists, they are master in the forest. Fulani people, they are real master in the forest, because that is more or less their home. They stay there, they live there, even from Maiduguri down south. They know almost the forest area there. So, and we should, be able to forecast or predict that since they stay much in the forest, and the small communities share boundary with the forest, and the aim of these terrorists is principally to undermine the government of the day so that it will become unpopular, then we should be able to look at the situations where the securities of those areas should be, and the security education too. So it should be very, very paramount.
When we mention security, the reports that we got from this abduction, it says there was a notice prior, and then even when it was happening, there was no way for the people to reach out to, reach out to the outside communities, get help and everything. So is it really a security problem or more of an infrastructure problem? Like, why do they not have good network in that area in this current time?
You see, the Orire incident has really exposed the loss of values of our people. I think during the days, our grandfathers and mothers in those days, they are very sensitive. When they see strange people, when strange people enter a community, they will know strange people are entered, and they will get some people alerted. There is a woman who said he saw one of his child, or a child, sorry, being rounded up by those people, and still kept quiet. Because the security awareness, the security values which we inherited from our forefathers, I think we are losing it. Because there is no how. There is this woman also who is selling rice, beans, and the bread. He was making about 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 before. So that thing just jumped to 10,000, 20,000. Making. You should have known that something is happening. And be able to draw the attention to some people so that they will know that they are strange. But I think we should think seriously on how to bring those forefathers' values. When strangers enter the community or enter a place, they will know it's a stranger. Do you see so person who just passed now? Is it your neighbor? Where is he staying? So all those questions, and it will help the security.
Yes, you are right. We see that happen a lot, in those days. But what exactly is the reason why those values have been eradicated? What is the cause? What are those factors that, is it because people lost their conscience at some point? How did we lost it? And how did we get to this point where we just overlook major security issues?
And probably there is so many causes, and but the love for money is also where somebody everyone is making his own money. It doesn't bother whether it is angels or it is anybody that is buying it or ghosts. The most important thing is that you want to make that money. And the second one is that there are so many proverbs in Yoruba at times which will be reminding you of how to of the tenet of good behavior. You know, at times there are some songs when their mother is singing it, it reminds you, send message. But so most of these values, and unfortunately, the security education should be extremely paramount. It should not be restricted to security operatives alone. The community also need all those small security education. If you see so person, this is how you see it. If you see strangers, this is how it is. All those one choose matter most also.
But what's supposed to be the role of local governments now in terms of, because we see that a lot of these incidents, abduction incidents that happen, most of it is usually in rural communities. Now, what's supposed to be the role of local governments in, playing most of the parts of securing the people?
You see, one of the primary responsibility of a reasonable government, whether at the local, whether at the state, whether at the federal, even at the world level, is provisions of the security so as to defend the individual's property and life. So the local government also, I think it is time, when there is election and local government chairmen are elected, the first thing they should do is that they should be able to engage them in seminars that will ensure that they know what they call security and how to go about security, so that the information they have, they'll be able to disseminate it or make use of it in their community too. They have a very, very vital role to play. And I think it was this last week that the state police has been passed by the National Assembly. It should mean the constitutional provisions, because it needs constitutional amendment, and they have to go all around the state for approval. Once those steps are taken, I think the state police we are close now.
Are we going to see, the rate of insecurity to its barest minimum once we eventually have the state police in place?
No, you see, when you are starting some state police like that, it's not going to take off 100% perfect. It's going to come with certain problems, which will still be solving. But definitely, I think it's a way to achieve the desired result when it comes to the issue of provision of security.
What's the gap in the federal policing system that you feel like the state policing would actually help eradicate?
It's purely community policing. You see, when you are talking about security, you should always look at it holistically, that it is everybody's responsibility. The state policing, they'll be able to ensure that there's community policing. This already that we are talking now, and there is a police station there, and but it's likely to be more than that. They'll be able to provide security, enlighten the community, and the other time when I was talking, I said that the forest, most of the forests, they are reserve forests, and hunters, our local hunters, cannot go there to kill animals. It's forbidden. I was opinion that with the rate things are going now, those hunters can be licensed so that they be in the forest. And when they likely suspect any movement, those people that in the early days, it was well planned.
We'll have to come back to that. Talking of the hunters, because last week the president approved the recruitment and deployment of 1,000 forest guards to Oyo State. But when we return, we'll talk more on that. Please stay with us.
Progress no dey happen just like that. It come from support when you need them.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point. Oh.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer, Abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point, okay? Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as sure banker. Progress na small win where the carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. Mogo Bible.
Victor, even you they use money point?
Of course now, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point, made for your progress.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. Before we went on that break, sir, you were talking about forest hunters. And I mentioned, the president approving the recruitment and deployment of 1,000 forest guards. Now, how do you think this is going to be, how significant is this action of the president to the release of the abducted victims? Let's also not forget those in Borno State also.
Well, I think this role of the forest guard is a step forward, though it may not solve the problem absolutely. But you see, the Nigerian forest, even if you employ 20,000 forest guards, they may not be able to manage. But if you give our local hunters, let's take from Oyo State now, stroke Osun State, the forest reserve, if you enter the forest from Ife, that is around Ife, Ondo Road, if you enter there, it is forest down to Ijebode and Ijebubo. Even the 1,000 guards, if you deploy them to that area, what can they cover? But if you try to license the local hunters now, there are some who will be from Ife, there are some who will be from, all those at the Rosun, after really, Araromi, down to Ijebubo, automatically it will be able to, at least there is going to be meaningful improvement. So that is why they should not jettison the ideas of those local hunters, because one, they will also know the terrain than those you just employed. So they should not just jettison it, they should consider that aspect. Because most of them are from that place, and let's assume that people from Olomi Academy now in Ibadan, you employ some of them. After Olomi, you see that forest reserve also, down to Ijebubu. So they should try to, they are the local people who have been residing in that local area for years. So they will be able to be, it will be a very good source of information to the government and to be guiding them, especially in respect of the movement of the people, even in the bush.
And talking of the movement of the people even in the bush, we have a lot of forests in Nigeria. Let's not forget the ones in the north, the ones in the south, even southeast. We have quite a number of them. And over time, we've also mentioned unmanned, ungoverned areas, where security agencies are not even in those places at all, due to also the ratio to the number of Nigerians we have in terms of security agencies now. But how do we make sure, now that, we have still not seen the forest guards, we are talking of forest hunters, how many hunters do we even have that are currently willing to go into the bush? Last week, we saw an incident that happened in, I think, Osun State. Was it Osun or Ondo State, where these hunters heard of a security incident and they decided to go into the forest by themselves, in their numbers. Now, when we see things like this happening, does it help, with our security issues currently in the Southwest? And also, does recruitment of more hunters, are we seeing that happening, in Southwest currently?
I don't think so. You see, the issue of forest, especially in the night, you cannot compare it with what will be happening in town at night. So it's not something that you just think, say, because I'm a security officer, you can just go into the bush. You understand what I'm saying? And that is the essence of community policing. I think when the community policing come to operation fully, I know they are going to really consider local content in the issue of community policing. The local content entails that using people from the local area, you know what I'm saying, to provide security within that area. In those days, if they said something is lost, probably in the bush or in the farm, by the time the person come back home and says so person, they will say, it is likely to be so person or so person. You understand? They can forecast without even investigation because they know themselves. So the essence of local content, we have to be able to make sure that it is considered.
Speaking of sending hunters to the forest and, you know, deploying forest guards, with the way, like, we have a pattern of not taking care of our people well, how are they going to recruit 1,000 people that would willingly want to? Because this is going to go and, like, almost like they're sacrificing to be able to, like, eradicate this. How are they going to be able to get 1,000 people to actually go without, you know, them having to maybe take from a section of maybe like the police, the federal police position or what is called, and, you know, like that?
You see, you know, the issue of this forest guard, the only difference is that they specifically employ them for
so they're going to recruit new people.
But it's not a new phenomenon. As a matter of fact, the ministries of Agric, they have forestry department, and they have forest guard. Even since Western region, Western Nigeria, they have forest guard, which I know some of my readers are there. During that time, they are employed. Whether they are now recruiting.
But do we even have enough? Do we have up to 1,000 to be recruited currently?
How would they now have? You don't know Nigerian population. If they're asking for 100,000, they will see now. There is mass unemployment.
But at some point, we heard of a report where people are not even interested in, you know, when recruitments are being sent out in terms of, you know, a Nigerian police force, the Nigerian army, they are getting the number of recruitment they saw. Well, this report was from the southeast now, you know, and they said people are not coming out to apply. People are not willing to go into the force anymore. So now, with these current insecurity issues, of course, we know there will be casualties. Are people really willing, or do you think people are ready and willing to help join force with the military, join force with the armed forces in fighting and tackling this insecurity? And now I'm talking of the local hunters, the forest guards, and of course we are talking of the state policing, which will be, you know, in actualization very soon. Are people really willing and ready to fight this insecurity and see it come to an end in Nigeria?
You see, there is difference between fighting insecurity and
or taking part in the fight.
Or taking part in the fight, or interested in joining military or paramilitary forces. You see, the psychological feelings of our people, especially in the Southwest, especially when it comes to the issue of the police. You say, I know, I cannot do police job. And if you do this comparative analysis with our people in the North, there is no paramount rulers or those who are in the position that does not have their child or children in police or army or the other. But in our own case, we are also unnecessarily skeptical, not showing interest in joining. And that is why you continue to see the gap between us and then them. It's also wide when it comes to the issue of this security. The other time, I was watching the emir of Kano, Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, whose person is in the police. You understand what I'm saying? And on like that. Almost a sizable numbers of them they are there. But in our own case here, they do not show much interest.
Why is that so?
I don't know. Probably you see the idea that have been sent out when it comes to the issue of the police. Say, I know police are not your friend. The way they look at them in the society is also it's a part of we should try to change such an orientation, which is very bad.
But when you talk about changing the orientation of the people now in terms of trust between the people and the security personnel, where do we start that from? Where does it start from? And I'm talking of, the people now, because over time or in recent time, we've seen instances where a regular citizen, a regular Nigerian is just wants to render help. But at the end of the day, it feels like they become the prime suspect in such instance. So when people go through such situation, how do they begin to trust the security apparatus of the nation?
Well, that aspect, you are absolutely correct. Because one, there are some people in the past who probably have vital information and released to the security authority. And the source, because in intelligence gathering, the source of the protection of the source of your information is paramount. The source of the information should be well guided, not unreasonably disclosed, so that they'll be able to give another one tomorrow. But when the source of the information is left out, then the life and the protections of such a source is in jeopardy, and they will not be willing to give such in the future. That's what you are saying. So, and it's very, very paramount. I think we should start also from the security.
Should we say that could that have been the issue in the situation of Orire? We heard where they said notice were sent out. They saw some shady activities going on in the town. Is that why people did not report it? Could we say that's one of the reasons why it was not reported, because of the breach in trust between the people and the security?
No, I don't think it covers that area, because since they are able to put it across, it's for public knowledge, which should have been said. It has become an open secret. We could put it in that form. I think that the problem is that they are intelligent when it comes to analyzing information that is necessary to be processed and given to the security operatives. They are not able to have that analytical mind. I think that is the problem. It's not that they don't have the analytical mind of the consequence or the likely consequence of the information at their disposal.
But is that possible?
It is possible. See the mother that I said saw his child. You know what I'm saying, eh? If those who are inside they are able to capture them, they could not relate. What about you who is outside and you saw even your child? It's because, they don't understand. If those information has gone at timely and there is probably a base for rescue mission or intervention, when it comes to the source of such, is very close. They'll be able to have intervened. They will not move far before they are more or less intercepted or
what about to
arrested.
Prevent, casualties?
You said?
What about to prevent casualties?
Yes, now, but to prevent
because they already have them. If they maybe intercept and cut them,
prevent
it from escalating.
Every day in the bush or every day they are on the run, they are learning one or two things. You get what I'm saying? So if they have not moved far, the knowledge. You see, one of those who are arrested, some of those who are suspects who are arrested, one of them was telling them, don't go through the park, the old park. So, because that is, they likely be arrested. It's not take this social part. It was directing them, which shows that those people, they don't 100% master that area, the area, but there are some miscreants, criminals within the society who are guiding them. So, who are guiding them. So, if supposing that it is at that period now, they may likely took the wrong way and even took routes that even leads to the major town.
Now, when we have, suspects, just as the Orire incident now, 6 people were apprehended, and of course, they were Yorubas. They were said to be Yorubas, apprehended, being informants to these terrorists. Now, when we have, our own working with terrorists, what should, now, from the legal standpoint now, how should the law take its course? Should they be treated as terrorists also, or to be tried separately, from terrorists?
No, they are conspirators. So they will be tried.
I mean, we have a lot of, yes, we have Nigerians, saying anyone that is being caught working with terrorists, regardless whether they have killed or not, they should be tried as terrorists.
They will be tried together. One as perpetrator and the other one as conspirators. I think the law has taken care of those areas.
But, in terms of the law taking care of that particular area, we have talked about several times, we talk about the de-radicalization of these terrorists, reintegrating them back into the society. And of course, a lot of Nigerians, there's been a lot of outcry on this particular, reform or policy. And we are not seeing the federal government taking a U-turn on that decision. How do we begin to build the trust of the people in terms of, trust of the people and the federal government now, when we talk about the radicalization, reintegrating terrorists back into the society?
Personally, that is one of the worst government policy that ever happened in Nigeria. Where somebody who's a known criminal, and you now bring something on board, and I said you have been de-radicalized. So the best place to now put them is security networking also. How will somebody feel? Somebody who has the loved ones have been killed, is in IDP camp. You know what I'm saying? And then after some time, perhaps some military person now came to visit them. He now saw somebody that mastermind the killing of their loved one. He now saw that person in military uniform, with vehicles, with guards, with guns. Psychologically, how will he feel? That policy is very, very bad. And the other time there was this jailbreak.
Yes.
Some people, the information that went around was one of those people who was now employed in the immigration, and was posted to the ministry to the prison. Automatically, the loyalty, when you come to the security of the country, the operators must exhibit absolute loyalty. There is not 99.9% loyalty, it's 100% loyalty. How do you guarantee the loyalty of those people? They are coming from certain realm. There are people who are seeing the push. Their colleagues are seeing the push. You now put one of them. You see, will not be even encourage some people to join such a kind. And say, after let me operate for 2 years. After 2 years, I will say I'm born again. Quote and unquote. I'm not trying to say that I'm not using the born again issue to do something, but I'm just using it to analyze. So that when I say yes, and I'm not no more a terrorist. I'm ready to. They now went for social thing. They will talk to him for some things, give him lecture, and then he's now employed to the police or the army or any other security something.
But shouldn't this apply to the conspirators too? Because when they help the perpetrators and they help them to carry out their evil acts, and they now come to court and you're trying them differently. When they go back to the society, they still help another set, because these people are like plenty and everywhere, and they still find a way to connect with other groups and help them out too.
You see, when you talk about the conspirators,
because they're not conspiring to do something very menial. This is a very, very grave offense.
Yes, you see, the investigators were able to determine their levels of conspiracy. there are some people that run errand for them unknowingly. You know what I'm saying?
Unknowingly?
Yes.
Is that possible?
It's possible.
How?
I have a mail. Probably I've known you are working with DHL or anything, something before. Probably you have left. Probably after you have left, you are still within that vicinity. Probably has been dealing with you, and he now called you that I have mail that I want to send to this person, and you carry that mail. You know what I'm saying? So even if you say that I have a mail that is at so place, can you help me to go and pick it
But
up?
you know, there are some errands you will run, and personally you also feel that this does not seem right, or this is shady. Now, when people engage in such errands, shouldn't they speak up?
That's what I'm saying. Even with this story we are talking, there are some who fall into that category. You know, you cannot put in the same camp those who are giving them, no, don't take that route, take this route. You know what I'm saying? They are different. Their role, it's different. Their levels of involvement is also different. You cannot treat them. The court will look at those issues and I know their levels of involvement. You will charge some people for conspiracy. They may not, the court may not see it absolutely as conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? So their level of involvement will be examined, thoroughly examined.
I still want us to look at this issue of the policy of the radicalization and, you know, how the government is not taking a U-turn on that particular policy. Let's look at foreign collaborators now with the terrorists working in Nigeria. It feels like they found Nigeria as a safe space, you know, a safe haven to operate. Why is that so? And if over time we've heard of, you know, they are not operating independently, they have foreigners, foreign affiliation, sponsoring them, working with them. Why have we not been able to, it feels like we've not been able to take a drastic action on that particular information. And that's also to bring us to, you know, the issue of intelligence gathering now in talking about insecurity issue in Nigeria.
You see, the issues of terrorists or terrorism is a global phenomenon. It's not restricted to Nigeria alone. There is this ISWAP, which even deal with Western province. And, you know, the problem we had is that immediately after the Libya incident, America itself, at times, they will create problem and they will put themselves forward as those who will solve the problem. If you see the issue of Libya, a lot of arms and ammunition were supplied by the United States of America, by those they recruited to fight Gaddafi. After the eliminations of Gaddafi, there is some state of serious of lawlessness and fight, and many people left Libya with so many arms and ammunition, even to Nigeria and to some of the West African countries. So what I'm saying that is that the issues of terrorism is not about saying what about other foreign collaborators. You must not lose the sight that there are some of the foreign countries who deliberately will not be happy to have a stable government in African countries because they know we have potentials too, very enormous one. And if we get it right, we have the capacities even to lead the world. But once we make sure that if we are stable today, tomorrow they will create power and let's make it not so stable, all those ones. So it's just one of those international policy at times to make sure that those developing countries they don't pick up.
But I mean, should we not be talking about cutting ties with the terrorists we have currently in Nigeria already and those outside Nigeria, and in terms of their relationship, relating with one another?
You see, but those of us within, they need money to survive, and they need equipment to survive. You must not lose the sight that most of those equipment and money, they are coming mostly from ISWAP and some other foreign countries. And you must not look at the terrorism just as terrorists like that. Because some of these foreign farms in those bush, they are made of, especially in the Sambisa forest, they are some rich, it's very rich in some of the minerals resources that once they create serious insecurity, give them avenue, to mine those mineral resources within the bush. So it's very beneficial to them. Others they will be pretending as if they want the thing to end. Even when they said they want to collaborate with you and do, if you travel down north, in some villages, you will be seeing these people, and they are very comfortable. You will see them moving, they say, in the name of, they will just give it one name that look as if they are philanthropist groups. You'll be wondering, how are they, and they are living among the remote, very remote villages. Mm-hmm. So many of them, they are just there in the name of this providing aid or so. They have some ulterior motives.
All right. Let's look solely now into intelligence gathering and the issue of terrorists ambushing rescuers, ambushing our security operatives or the armed forces. Now, when we have these issues happening, what's that to say about the level of our intelligence gathering? Is there are we not getting enough intelligence, or we have saboteurs?
Well, definitely, we have saboteurs who are within. And that is what made the things to be extremely worrisome. Because when the same people who are assisting the terrorists are the same people that sit at the round table to discuss how to fight terrorism, you see that it makes it very worrisome. Definitely, there are some saboteurs who are within, not only within the government, it's also even within the security, which is so many some army officers have been arrested, policemen have been arrested, so many people have been arrested, depending to the different class. The students have been arrested, that is the student who we regard as our future leaders, who will be able to say, and they are involved. So it's seriously worrisome.
So apart from all this arrest happening, what else can be done to this issue of, weak intelligence or intercepted midway, where terrorists even have information to high-level information? How do we begin to make sure that is at least reduced to its barest minimum?
You see, the problem in Nigeria is that, this issue of this terrorism, before it can subsidize, it should be after election. Even immediately after election, you still experience some. It will continue until the election is conducted.
Why is that so?
It's because of the mentalities of the Nigerian political class. If they hate certain government and they don't want it to come back, in most cases, they engage in acting.
But this is not just to this administration alone. We've been talking about this issue of insecurity for over 15 years now. Yes. Looking at what happened during Jonathan's era, and some people said if he comes back the second time, they'll make the country ungovernable for him. We saw what happened then. Then we saw what happened during late Muhammadu Buhari's administration. And now we are seeing, so is it really affiliated to election now? Few months ago, I think about 2 months ago, the Senate president came out to say the issue of insecurity will be reduced after 2027 election, just as you said. But should that be the case? We're talking of lives being lost, children displaced, family members killed, displaced. Why should we be affiliating election to the lives of people?
You see, when people see political office as just only means of their survivors, because they are making the society, they will not want to lose such power. Yes, you see, the Buhari era you talk, or the Jonathan era, the thing was that that is why people continue to refer to Buhari as a key figure that brought all these threats to security. Because initially, I think they were thinking that Jonathan will not leave. And they have gone to recruit some of these, politically, recruit these people, where they create, chaos all over the country and make the country to be ungovernable for Jonathan. And fortunately, Jonathan said he doesn't want blood. He relinquished the power and went home peacefully. So I think those people, they were not settled. They are not properly settled. And then, or taken care of. And they now become miscreants to the society.
If they brought them in, why didn't they take them out?
It's not taken out like that. If they are supposing, what do they fight? They are person who is Buhari, is in government. And they were expecting so many things, some remuneration or other things. If we hear some of their
requests.
So, and they now become miscreant to the society. You see, there was a time I read one of late Chief Omalulu lawyers write up sometimes. He said he was called by late Obafemi Awolowo. They now went to his home at Okado. When he got to Baba's house, Baba says, Omalulu, sit down. Why are you not supporting me to be president? He said, Baba, you are one of the best something that can rule this country. But if you become president, you will ask the central bank to make sure that they balance their account every day. And these people will not want that. They want CBN account to be left open because they can come in the midnight to come and carry out, pick money. So they will not win the election. And if you win the election, you eventually won. They will make the country ungovernable. Look at the years that the made that statement. It's more than this story is more than 50 years. I see what is happening now. Immediately, some people, some clique who thought that Nigeria is their birthright, Nigeria is their own, and ruling Nigeria is their birthright, they will make sure that the country is ungovernable. And that is what is happening. There are means to change somebody who is in power. It's not by creating insecurity and put the life of citizens.
And these are people that are also in power.
Yes.
Now, how do we flush? How do we start having that conversation of flushing such people from power?
And the ones that we know about.
Yes, and of course, stop, allowing such people at the helms of affairs.
You see, if you want to put some people in perpetual followership, you increase the levels of their poverty and their illiteracy, so that they will not be enlightened, to have strong analytical mind to know that this I cannot do this I cannot do this, and the poverty also will not allow them to even think further, but they just want to eat today. They don't bother about tomorrow. And that is what is happening now. Many of our people, they just think about today. If you preach the way about today, they went, are you sure? You understand? They want to take care of themselves today. In those days, when we are young, they will say, they have to say, when it comes to the issue of election. You understand what I'm saying? If you see the way they behave, you don't know the way I will think during the time of election. They will get money and then vote accordingly. But now, the people are lost in the wilderness. Once they have money, they thought it's a determinant factors that determines almost everything in life. They don't think that tomorrow does not even matter. What matters is today.
But doesn't this take us back to the judicial system in Nigeria? Because some people, some names have been made known to the public, affiliations with this, and it's like they're doing nothing about it. there's no accountability, everybody's just hearing and moving on. What is wrong with our judicial system?
It's not the judiciary that we institute case by themselves. It is the people who are seeing that what is wrong, they report.
But we are complaining.
You cannot complain by sitting down here alone. When you complain, you will back your complaint with action to the appropriate authority. And when they do the investigation and they find out that your assertion is correct, such person will be charged to court.
So how do we make our complaints known to them that they should charge these people?
You are not to determine that they should charge. And if we have seen them committing offense that seem a criminal in nature, it should be reported to the appropriate security unit.
The agitations by Nigerians, well, when we talk about the financiers of terrorism in Nigeria, and of course, the financiers of terrorism in Nigeria, and, a lot of Nigerians are raising their voice. There's been a lot of outcry. Why are we not seeing these people arrested? Why are we not seeing them, behind bars? Why are they not being tried already? But there seems not to be answers to a lot of these questions. Why is that so? And of course, when we have, names clearly stated, we had UAE at some point publishing names. We had the United States of America at some point publishing names. And even Nigeria, at some point, we had published names. But we're not seeing these people on trial. Then what's the hope of the common man who feels like, when complaints are being raised, when an issue is being raised and it's been reported to the appropriate authorities, what's the assurance that their cries would be heard?
Well, that is a very vital question and very meaningful too. You see, personally, the way we are approaching it when it comes to the issues of the financial is that it's just like the cause and effect. When you are treating the effect of a matter, that issue will not be eradicated. But when you go to the cause, once you treat the cause, the effect will go because the cause has been dealt with. I think that is the way we should see those who are sponsoring terrorism and the terrorists. I have no opinion that it is high time the government ensured that the sponsors of terrorism are apprehended and prosecuted. And that is going to do a long way into reducing or eliminating terrorism.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of eliminating terrorism, one of the updates of in Oyo State is the ban of Okada movement at night. Or is this really going to help, or just make movements a little bit more harder for the citizens, especially people that maybe get back from work late or market? I think by 9 or 9:30, they are no longer moving, and it's a little bit difficult. Also, is this just going to maybe move, their acts, their what they have going on? Is it just going to move it from Oyo State, maybe somewhere else, if, the citizens are trying to adapt to the hard life of, trying to get home by 8 o'clock at most or so?
You see, the first law of nature is individual want to survive. Yesterday, I know I will come here today, but if somebody told me that if I sleep, I may not wake up, that somebody may die while sleeping, that sleep may not come on time unless it is forced, because you will do everything to make sure you don't sleep because you will not want to die. It's because we have hope of waking up tomorrow that we may have sound sleep yesterday. You see, the problem is that all those restricting Okada movement to 10, so, is just government thinking to safeguard lives and property. If you are talking that you want to move, you are moving when you are alive. Somebody who is dead, can you think about moving from one place to another? And that is the living that they want to safeguard, that the life is sustained. So anything done towards that direction, I don't think it's a very bad policy. At least we are still in order. Everybody will know how to manage the time. And then
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Fatai Kinsomi, a retired intelligence officer and a legal practitioner who's been talking to us about on the updates on Elewura, Orire, and Borno hostages, and of course, security matters in Nigeria generally. Thank you so much, sir. It's been a wonderful conversation with you. All right, we'll be right back after this break. Please stay with us. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. We are still continuing in the conversation, talking of the updates on Elewura, Orire, and Borno hostages, the abduction incident, and of course the security challenges we are currently facing in Nigeria. And to do justice to this, we have the chairman, correspondent Chapel, NUJ, your state, in the studio with us, Comrade Yinka Adeniro. Comrade, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, looking at the recent incident, yesterday we heard of the rescue operation of the sister of the former Minister of Power and her twin sons. And Nigerians are still calling for the release of the abducted teachers and pupils in Orire abduction incident. Let's also not forget the children that were abducted on the same day, May 15, in Borno State also. They are also still in captivity. Let's look at this update. And of course, so far, how do you think we can still work on our security architecture in Nigeria?
Well, thank you. I think the fact that one rescue has been secured is a good omen and is an indication that the security operatives, they are living up to expectation. It's not just about news, not about story, not just about pacifying us, but that they are indeed doing what they should do. It would be unfair for anybody to think that, because one big prominent personality is involved, that's why the rescue was fast, while the other one concerns the mass majority. And no, it would be unfair to look at it that way. Because when you look at the situation surrounding the two operations, there are two different things.
How different are they?
Yeah, based on information available, when the security operatives, fortunately I was at the scene yesterday, and so some of these individuals that were involved, it was these guys their own mode of operation has been, they run it as business.
Are they Yorubas? Are they Fulanis? Are they Hausas? Who are they? Their identity. I know, the Nigerian police force already released a statement saying two persons were killed yesterday, and 4 people were arrested. And they also mentioned a kidnapping syndicate around that Soka axis. Now, are they Yorubas? What's their identity?
Interestingly, what the known bandits were actually the clamor for that. What we think about them, about their religion, about their tribe, about who they are, about their dressing, all of those things, none of them played out. Based on information available, made to the public by the police, these guys that we saw yesterday that were nabbed, all Yorubas, staying in this neighborhood. The people that were known, that people know, that people can recognize. It was so shocking that you won't believe that some of their victims were actually on ground yesterday to testify. In fact, there was a story of a lady who, just by seeing the picture, the video of the rescue operation as released by the operatives, recognized the scene. 2 people. They recognized the picture, they recognized the environment, they recognized the setup, and they were at the police headquarters to say, yes, these guys actually abducted them.
But if they had been abducted before the rescue operation revealed them yesterday, now, were there statements, did they ever report at any point in time, were efforts made when these people were also abducted? What exactly, how did it eventually play on for them to have come out yesterday to testify against these people?
You see, because the world of social media, what's an experience you had. In fact, we had a conversation with one of the released abductees who said collected 15 million from them. Some of these things are just helping security operatives to say, okay, these are evidences to show that these guys work as a syndicate. They've been in this business for long. There was somebody that said he was abducted and he got 40 million naira from him. He was sharing his experience with colleagues. Yesterday, another woman was saying, oh, they collect about 25 million.
From these same syndicates?
This same syndicate, all Yorubas, all living and residing here. You need to see the building they use for this operation.
We saw the picture on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. It's in the papers, it's online.
Limit of the paper would only show you 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures.
We saw videos.
If you see some of these things, you just imagine how people will go to that extent. These are people that people see in the community. They know in the community. But interestingly, some of these people have political affiliations. They work with some of these people, and they feel that, oh, let's work with them, let's support them, let's empower them in their own little ways. So now, when these people came out to say, these are the same set of guys that abducted them, having reported the matter to the police initially. You see, the irony of this is this. I'm not holding the brief for the police force. The irony of it all was that, would you believe that the man behind all of this had actually been arrested by the Oyo State Police Command before the IGPIR came on board and they didn't know, they couldn't link it to him that, okay, they were still ongoing with their investigation.
He was initially arrested.
He has been arrested since Thursday, but they never knew, investigation had not really revealed that he was behind the mastermind.
What was he arrested for initially?
He was a soft target.
Okay.
They know that, okay, your hand is not clean. You've always been, his name is just coming around, but they can't just nip it. Do you understand? They can't just spin him to say this is, until the other guys, the abductees were rescued and they arrested the other guys and his name came up.
How many people were rescued?
Sorry?
How many people were rescued yesterday, apart from the Adela, former Minister of Power's sister and the twin sons? How many other people were in captivity?
Just the 3 of them. I think the way this guy run is that they finish one deal per time. In fact, I was having an interaction based on my finding. I discovered that these guys would not come up with a demand until maybe 4, 5, 6 days when they had held their victim in custody. Tension would have increased, pressure would have increased. The way everybody would have invested. So by the time they name their price, you have no choice than just to say, okay, this is what we want. And so that is the way the way these guys operate, it's so funny that they take care of their victims.
When you say they take care of them, what do you mean by that?
Because their own target, they are not looking at killing. They only want to make money. And that's they have been making money.
So they feed them properly?
No, not definition of proper. Let's put properly.
Okay.
You only get to eat properly based on if you get what you want, where you want it, when you want it. You know, we won't say they will feed them properly. They will make them uncomfortable.
I mean, you said they take care of them.
Yes, based on the information we had, there's somebody that cooked for them at least. Whatever. A woman was sharing her story yesterday in a conversation, and she said when they abducted her, it was 2 days to her birthday. She was in custody on her birthday. And on her birthday, she was crying, she was doing this, and they asked her, what happened? She said, oh, today is my birthday, and I'm in custody. I said, oh, today is your birthday? I said, yes, it's my birthday. And he said they went. Only for them to come back later in the day. Okay. With cake, chicken, apples, and they started singing for, you know, these are stories that you won't hear. And, you know, she was sharing that, no, yeah, you mean? He said, yes.
And did she eat the cake?
Somebody in captivity. What's birthday in the place of freedom? You know, but the fact that they could do that, yes, they eventually got 15 million. They released that because for them it's about...
In this Ibadan.
In this Ibadan, where we both reside.
So when we have a kidnapping syndicate that has been recognized already, pinpointed by the Nigerian police or your state command, let's say, you know, when we talk about the terrorists, the Fulani headsmen, the banned terrorists in quotes, who are abducting these children, who are operating in the north, you know, people come out to say, oh, these people are not even the ones behind. They are working for somebody. And they barely even they get peanuts from the ransom that has been paid. But for these syndicates now, are these people the owner of the business? Or they also have people they are reporting to based on first-hand information you got yesterday?
Well, when you say it's a syndicate, it means a lot of persons are involved. Informants, you know, logistics, someone takes care of feeding, someone who clean up. In fact, they said there was somebody who helped them do the washing. And about 2-3 persons confirmed that the clothes on the woman the day of the rescue, the blue hijab or something, the blue clothes she was wearing, 2 people testified that they also wore the same thing when they were in captivity. Well, there's somebody who actually do the washing for them. You see, for me, the good thing is that it's the pointer to tell you that the police are actually on ground. They don't work like ghosts. They don't work like AI. Even AI needs your prompting. If you don't prompt AI correctly, you will not get the right answer. They need the support of people, information. Just in the forest. They are not just in the forest. Police information has revealed that some of the persons that have been nabbed so far, there are people that serve as informant logistics. You don't just go to a place you don't know. You only use other people's eyes, people that are in the know, that will give you information. When you get to so place, turn left, turn right. You know, in this one that was rescued, it was even the CP was even saying that they even enlisted somebody from within the household of the former minister. Somebody who works in the kitchen to give updates. Oh, this is where they are going. This is it. That's what you call a syndicate. They don't necessarily have to. They just know that, oh, somebody's bringing business. Just like for every crime. Oh, somebody's bringing business. Okay, we'll look at it. How does it work? And after they collect their loot, you know, they know how they share it. So it's unfortunate. The way we would think of bandit, the way we think of kidnapper, the way we think of terrorists, they are right here. And people in the neighborhood would not even smell anything. Because if you look at the building, if you go in, there's also a 3-bedroom flat on a half plot of land, fenced, gated, and, you know, there is water, there is virtually everything you need.
And I want to talk about people in the neighborhood that you just mentioned. When we have such huge crime happening in a community, are you telling me it's not possible for the neighbor, a next-door neighbor, to know such crime is happening?
Well, to a certain extent, we've grown from our communal lifestyle as Africans to people living their private life. And when you go to an environment, you see somebody who has a building, a rented fence, and with gates. Naturally, what that tells you is that I want to maintain my privacy. You don't have a right to interfere or to intrude what goes in, what goes out of the place without being questioned. I see you on my property without invitation.
But you can call on the attention of the police to such incidents or such building in quotes. If you notice there's an issue.
If you notice anything.
Would there not be noise like coming from the house, from like the captive crying and, you know, making noise or save me something?
Well, maybe in the case that when you are sure of where you are, a place that somebody was blindfolded, you're moved too late, dark in the night. And
but when they have movements at night like that, shouldn't like the community be suspicious? Why are you always coming back late at night?
In your private residence? The point still remains, the landlord, landlady association, neighbors, we all have roles to play. if it's not about checking up on each other, it's also about finding out what we do. Yes, at times, because of, in this local street, they call it, at times, bad belly would set in, and you know what people would think, oh, they are envious, they are this and that. And over that has been the privilege that we use to cover up a lot of crimes. A lot of things goes on behind the walls and the fences of most homes. Behind the fences, behind the... People would just naturally just want to mind their business. Don't rule that out. The question would have been that, let's bring everybody in the neighborhood. Did you see anything? We tried to talk to some of the neighbors yesterday. They all... We even tried to... Can you please tell us, are you saying you didn't notice anything? And they all voted. But like we're going to arrest them.
Now, when we talk about, and you know, we mentioned this earlier with our first guest, talking of the trust of the people and the security agencies. Now, when we have people who are supposed to come as witnesses, you know, running away or shying away from speaking the truth, or, you know, giving their first-hand account of what they see, what they saw in that particular environment, what's that to say about the people and security agencies in terms of trust?
It's not even about security agencies. They do not have the issues with the security agencies. Rather, they have the issue with the people they are going back to meet in the community. You've made the job easy for the security agencies to actually finish a case and, you know, rest it.
But they can actually make it confidential. No one, they do not have to, the community doesn't have to know that you were the one that went to report this particular building.
I hope people will also get to that point you're saying. People are always mindful. Oh, what if I say this and they get to know I'm the one? And also, people are also mindful that, am I sure his other collaborators are not watching over? At the moment they know I'm the one, won't they come back for me? So that's not about the security, it's about the society at large. You won't rule it out that even when the security operatives, they storm the place, some of their informants, some of the people that work with them, some of the people that will give them information, they are also there watching, looking. Like I was saying, when we visited Auro, Dada, I was at Auro, Dada, and, you know, we were having some conversation and we're looking around. We're not even sure of anybody who to trust. And that has been the main challenge. When government, when security operatives, they don't make certain information available, we tend to paint them black and make them look like they don't know what they are doing or they are not doing anything. Because some of these things they say to us, some of these things that come to the public, as we are finding its way back to these guys.
Still speaking about, you know, security and trusting the police force, we now have so many stop points at night. So how would people, like, you know, when you're approaching, some people be like, oh, you have to be careful. You don't know if these people are, like, among them. Because, you know, the road is usually so lonely and it's just your car. And they would ask you to stop for search and stuff. How should people, like, address this? How should people, you know, I'm going to put it, how should they, like...
How should they address, you know, such incidents where we have a lot of checkpoints and...
You would, like, ask them for their, you know, ID card or something...
And you know, proper identification.
Yes. What we only need to understand about the security operatives is that they have a formal way of dressing. You see the name tag, you see the number, you see the addressing. When I was at our road, I had a conversation with one of the mothers. So the child was also abducted. And she said something that struck me. An old woman who just recovered from, was just discharged from the hospital. And she said, when she saw the bikes coming, the security operatives and all of them, she said she smelled something. The way they dressed, you know, on a good day, you want to see a military man fully in full gear.
Fully kitted.
Fully kitted, everything. But she said there was something. She couldn't just wait to fix the dot. What was it? Was it their shoes? You know, some of them, maybe after the camo, they were wearing something casual, maybe not wearing the usual boots, maybe the way they look shabby, maybe they clothes. She said something looked fishy. She was trying to pick it. But before she had 1 + 1, the next thing that rented here was gunshots. A lot of times, we as Nigerians, when we don't even wait. We always have, because of this security operative members of the public trust deficit, we're always suspecting them. Why is he stopping me? What does he want? I don't have anything. And, you know, one of the things that when police stop you and they say, oh, tinted glass, go and get permit, we often criticize them. They are wasting our time. We're always in a haste. We don't know some of these things has been yielding results. Through the stop and search operation, the police have been able to nip a lot of crimes. They've been able to arrest many criminals. But many of us, because we feel we are clean, because we don't have anything suspicious, we just don't want to give them that time. We don't want to give them that audience. And at times, some of them feel embarrassed. The fact that I'm on the road for the last 5-6 hours and you're riding a Lexus does not make you better. this I'm doing. Do you understand? It's also a psychological thing. And some of them too want to be aggressive. You are a father, I'm a father. You are working class, I'm a working class. I'm also responsible. Don't look at me because I'm doing this job as somebody that is dirty. And that's why you see that there are times of altercation. And because of social media, we always our phone to the defense. We were asking ourselves, how were these people, how were they kidnapped and moved from the point of the abduction down to that place? It means they would have moved them, maybe covered their hair, maybe the car used was tinted, and they would have driven them maybe late in the night when people would not observe, wound up the glass, put on the AC. Just picture it. How would they from somewhere around Ring Road down to that far village? You need to see the distance. So we were looking at what happened. Nobody knew, nobody suspected. If police had even said, okay, stop them during stop, even the vehicle was unnumbered. If the police had actually said, stop them, where's your number plate? Oh, okay, don't worry now, I'm this, I'm that. Some of them are not patient enough even to cooperate with the security operatives, and it's aiding crime.
All right, comrade, because of our time, we have to stop on this note this morning. But briefly, looking at Orire incident, and of course, we also have children who were abducted on the same day in Borno State. We are hoping that it will be released soon, just as this rescue operation we saw happened yesterday. And we hope it's going to be very soon from this moment. What do you have to say about the hope of Nigerians?
I'm also hopeful. And with the level, I just want to appeal to us Nigerians. I know it's not easy when you say this to parents who have their children there in the forest, they don't know what's happening to them, and all of those things. Let's just trust this, guys. Let's trust our security operatives. Let's just give them the chance. Let's work with them. Oh, the way this A is written looks funny. Let's say it. Oh, this A, I'm suspecting this A is not standing well the way A should stand. I'm looking at this C, it's facing southeast, it should face this way. These are some of the things the security operatives need. They only add this. At times when they try to add one or two, it does not make sense. We don't understand. So every little information, every little observation. There was something that came up in Oriri when a woman actually smelled something, but they didn't see it. A woman selling food, just observed that all the business she's been doing, she made 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, but suddenly somebody just came, bought the whole of her beans, bread and beans, and she just went, like 20,000 naira, and went to the forest.
All right, comrade, we'll have to stop on this note. Comrade Yinka Adeniran, the chairman, correspondent, Chapel NUJ, Oyo State, talking about the security incident and, of course, updates on the security incident in Oyo State. Thank you so much, comrade. We hope we'll have to continue this conversation later in the week. All right, we'll have to end an anchor here on AM120. I am Oluwafunbi Bello saying, if you see something, make sure you say something.
Very, very important. When you see something, do say something. My name is Florence Cheryl, saying bye.